whatever chart you have, whatever. That's normal. It's everybody else is crazy. That's got something different. But when we're trying to fit in or feel we identify that want to be with other people, and we're different, well, some stress comes up, and we have to go on. Doesn't mean you can't deal with it. It just means there's pressure and a need to learn how to deal with it. So we're going to need to learn. Each planet's like a yoga, and each one has its own layer of things you need to learn. And as well as you learn them, that's how well it works for you. And as well as you don't learn them, that's how messed up that function is going to be in your life. But there is a choice. And certainly the qualities that make it, the worst aspects you can have are the qualities that make a saint. When they're not, those worst qualities can make a really bad person. So you can't just assume and say, oh, you got that. Oh, you say, oh, you worked through that. Then you get questions. What kind of home do you come from? How do you get along with your mother? What do you eat? Are you vegetarian? Are you meat eating? Or what are your habits you have? What hobbies you have? You start looking and you start asking those questions and observing. You're tuning into that person's moon. And you're going to get very different results as you tune into a moon in Capricorn versus a moon in Cancer or a moon in Aries or in Gemini. You're going to see different habits, different patterns. So it's kind of like we're tuning in and defining them, but it's not, it's more open than that. So you got the planets and the signs and houses, the main factors, the main levels of consciousness. Then you're just seeing what stress patterns are there. Okay, so, and anything that's a major factor affecting your moon, it's going to be in the major aspects. But the challenges to the moon of how to fix that aspect is to be better, be your moon, to do it better. And even as you do it better, that aspect will still be there, but it'll be the factor that's making you do it better rather than making it worse. And as you do better or worse, you're accumulating those memories. And you feel secure or not secure on the planet, in your life, in your body. Yeah, if you grow up, and if someone has a big complex, like, I hate my mother, I can't stand where we grew up. It was I grew up in the family from hell. And as soon as you got that judgment, wow, you got a lot of work to do to get here now and not dump your hell on anyone else that gets close to you. Who wants to know? Why bring it up? Let's move on. Many people learn how to live from their mom. Many people have to learn how to live once they get out of their family. They have to learn again to learn properly, because not all moms got it right. It's a trial and error thing, day by day, but it accumulates. So by the time you've been here 10 years, you have 10 years worth of memories. If you're here 3 months, you have 3 months of memories. If you're here 70 years, you got 70 years of memories. You know, so like what seems like a little puddle when you're younger becomes a huge ocean. And that's just normal backdrop. But we get caught in various patterns. We get caught in various memories. We have them repeating in various ways. So we're not trying to define the energy. We got to go through each planet and start to see what's stressful. What is a stressful relationship from the moon to Mercury? So the moon is, like I say, it's your memory, it's your ability to reflect, to be sympathetic. When you're secure, you can be sympathetic. When you're not, it's difficult to be sympathetic. You know, the need to nurture or be nurtured. These are all facets of the moon. But as a function, I like to think of it as your ability to reflect and memorize, to empathize, to feel the security in a situation or around someone, or the lack of security. So it's your feelings, it's moods. They come up. They're tied up. Moods are tied up to memories. If you run into something and it triggers a memory, a lot of the old songs that I liked were back in the 60s. They were sort of hippie songs, and I don't even like what they're saying anymore. I kind of grown way past them. But every now and then, the other day, I just happened to, one came up on YouTube, and I listened to it, and all of a sudden I'm in tears listening to this song from the 60s. Sheesh. It didn't last very long, but I still had pockets of memories in there. I brought it up into now, and I'm trying to assess that according to where I am now or what's happening now. It's not a rational thing. That's the moon function. But as the moon function goes around, each month goes by, after 2 or 3 months when we're born, we begin to recognize the patterns get established, our habit patterns get established. We know if we finish eating, mom comes and gets us and brings, and we know she's going to take us to bed. We know it's time to go to bed. We get into bed, we're put in the room, the light goes off, and we're there. Like we can kick in, like it just happens for the first month, like it or lump it. But we begin to remember that, and we begin to realize we're going there. So if we don't mind sleep, we're feeling secure. Well, by the time that's it, it's time to just go to sleep and get there and go with it. If we don't want to go to sleep and we want to stay awake, we don't want to go there, we're going to kick and scream to avoid going there. So what this is, it's the moon acting up, but it's the mind beginning to recognize the patterns and avoiding what it doesn't want and trying to manipulate things to get it the way you want. The wanting is the Venus, but the manipulating and the thinking and the trying to strategize or recognizing patterns, that's the Mercury, the thinking. But the moon is a kind of thinking, I remember this, I remember that, I need to do this. It's your basic daily functional thinking, instincts about cooking, eating, living. Those are moon things. But Mercury, like it's between the memory and the thinking. Boy, when they work together, one's alert. I mean, really, Mercury is the principle of being how alert are you? So even when you're thinking, if you're thinking, you're disturbing the alertness of the moment because you're interpreting it. This is this, this is this, is this. It's a big effort to sit in a moment and just be alert and not think. This is meditation. Alert, not think. At the same time, to be sitting in a moment and alert and not bring any mental baggage back with you, not any moon memory baggage, to not pull up the memories and fester on a memory while you're sitting there. Because as soon as you fester on the memory, you're going to start thinking about it. And you're going to get into a mood, and that mood's going to affect how you communicate what you have to say. And it takes away from your aliveness in the moment. So both of them are disturbing. All the planets disturb the moment. Their frequencies that if you can be alert and be in the moment, you can perhaps encompass them all right now without even having to think about them. Just being here. But as soon as we start reacting and attached to things, they all start taking their place and they all start having their opinions and coming on. And all these factors are disturbing our peace. But most of that's just normal stuff that we go through every day. Because we don't normally stay, the moment seems to run away because we're doing things, we're throwing it into the past, we're going on. We really sit calmly and just alert in the moment. Okay, that's the yoga of the moon, but of every planet actually. But when the mind is there and the mind is working, and there's a stressful aspect, even the conjunction to the moon, it's great for imagination. The mind and the memory works together, they're working together, they're thinking things, they're really connected. So for anyone who gets paid by the word, that's a great function, Mercury moon. But the stress factor of it is you're always talking about the things that have happened to you. Oh, you remember this? Oh, I remember this. Oh, I remember that song. Oh, I was coming from there. And you're always talking about your past. That can get on other people's nerves. That can lose your focus, your concentration on other things. It basically brings down to mind to just meat, potatoes, give me a beer, have some chips. Hey, the ball game's on. What's happening? It brings it down to just basic habits in a lethargic, in a kind of, so there's a lethargic type of moon, like if you've eaten too much or you've drunk too much, a bad habit comes in and it diminishes your thinking. There's moon Mercury. But there's also the worry and the thinking factor that's trying to anticipate what I got to get. I need this, I got to get that. And it's always trying to figure out what I need. And when it's stressful, it's just there too much. Someone festers on things. There's just assumed familiarity. They're talking about what happened to you, where you coming from, what'd you eat today, what'd you do, oh, did you see your mom? Like, it's, most people live in their moon and are asking questions about family, home security, and they're collecting experiences and memories and anything else that lets them feel secure. So if your mind is stressfully there, you're either too intensely thinking about this, you can't stop. But both of these, Mercury and the moon, don't really have breaks. They're on and on things. So well, someone's talking and they're talking, they're feeling, talking, they're feeling. They don't necessarily see that nobody wants to listen or no one wants to hear anymore. Okay, that's a certain type of stress. At the same time, if someone's drunk or they're addicted or something like this, who wants to talk to them? What are they going to recall? Their lifestyle isn't worth talking about. It is to them. So you ever met anyone, you can talk to them, but every time you say something, they're going to remember it and they're going to bring back and they're going to have all sorts of other conditions on it the next time, and they're going to expect more around it. And you just said, I went here, and then they made a bigger deal. So it loses this perspective of clarity between memory and thoughts and what's silence or clarity in the middle. So these are generalized terms. When you apply to a specific chart, you start to see, well, this person has this tendency, and you start to see, since they're living this way, or they have this career, or have this type of family or home or that, you begin to see conclusions that are confirming the moon and the Mercury. A lot of writers might have moon Mercury, but then people who could be talking nonstop or thinking nonstop and never bother to write anything, they could be writing anything or also talking about anything, but it tends to lack depth when there's too much stuff. It's not clear thinking, it's moody thinking. When the moods are good, that's great. When the moods are bad, that's not so great. So in the last 24 hours, have you had more good moods than bad? More positive feelings than worries? Oh, how do we measure that? That's a Mercury moon factor. But when it's out of kill, you had too many cups of coffee, you're buzzing. You had too many drinks, you're just slothful. So like, depending on the nature of the stability, or you bring up ideas that just make you feel more and more secure. You ask someone about their troubled marriage, when you're better off to leave it alone. So when the Mercury and the moon, the function of thinking and deciding and making decisions, what you're doing, understanding time, it can make you a little late, slothful, too busy doing too many things, trying to have too many habits or having too little. When it comes to dieting, it's not going to improve your discipline around dieting. So yeah, so it's not a hugely horrible aspect, a moon Mercury aspect. It's kind of normal behavior thing. Some people have it. You see someone that doesn't have a moon aspect, who doesn't have the moon Mercury aspect, they don't have that stress. It usually depends on the other aspects too, but it often is easier to get close and talk personal, if there's not stressful aspects. So when you're looking at the sextiles and your trines, they're just not stressful. They're not stressful. You could call them productive or visionary, but really they're just easy. And that can mean an easy way of remembering, easy way of recalling things. You start thinking about Alzheimer's and you see a Mercury moon factor. Diet's going to be hugely important. Right thinking is going to be hugely important to be able to remember things. If you're only remembering the movies you saw and you can't remember who people are, that's a problem. So Mercury is your navigating mental system, and the moon's your diet and your health. If you don't feel good, you're not going to think good. It's going to pull your mind down. If you're thinking wrongly, it's going to encourage you to live wrongly. Oh, it doesn't matter if I have 10 cups of coffee. Who cares? I'm just keep going. And it catches up on you.